week, Browner.
One of the many exciting things about joining Live was being able to come here and play in front of a Spanish crowd, especially on a level of event and level of competition that I hadn't really yet enjoyed, right? Been able to play events in Spain.
Here in the beautiful Valderrama, which some say is the European Augusta. It's so special. There's so much history here. There's so much Spanish history here.
Well, it has so much history behind. It's only a 50 years old club, but so much has happened through the years. I mean, we had the Ryder Cup, we had World Gold Championships, and now we have Live.
1, 2, 3, 2, 1.
I feel like when there's this wind in this golf course is so difficult that it's equally stressful no matter when or where you're playing it. But it was fun. It's always fun to be back home and be with the home crowd. It's always a joy to have this many people supporting me all day. It's so much fun.
OMG, what did we just witness? Our first ever double playoff in Live Golf history. I am so pumped up right now.
So much happened on the last 5 minutes. I mean, it looked like it was going to the Crushers and Annie Barton winning, and all of a sudden then Abraham holding a chip, David Puig birdie eight, then that little putt from Annie Barton on the last. I mean, it was great watching.
You know, it's really amazing to be able to do it in your home country, in front of my family, in front of so many friends, and on my favorite golf course. So it's obviously super nice.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. It's pain-free Friday. Ferrall's doling out minutes on the mahogany, waxing it up. 100, 200, the bad seat, the broken day, the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City. The Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-it-up, along with the original OG, Carver Hyde, this afternoon. Mafia running it with Luke, I am your father. The rundown on a C2C Friday, Morency, the double shot from Vancouver. Dan Illman from Daily Racing Form getting ready for the Dandy at Saratoga. Coach James Young getting ready for Olympic basketball Saturday and Sunday. Smiley Kaufman, host of the Smiley Show on SportsGrid, chilling the most with Carver High and Mafia. Brian Ciano going to talk UFC 304 that's going on Saturday in Manchester, England at bizarre hours, but 2 title fights. They'll be at around 5 and 6 in the morning, Manchester time, and late night in the East Coast. It starts at 10 East in the East Coast, so we'll hit all of that, Carver High. We've got round 2 going on right now, the 3M in the Twin Cities at the TPC.
We certainly do. Happy Friday to you, Scotty, of course, as we head into another coast-to-coast Summer Friday. I like to do this to you every week now. Only 3 more coast-to-coast Summer Fridays without football picks, just so you know. Because in 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, Florida State and BC and Dublin will kick off the college football season. So we are getting very close.
Christ, I thought it was 5 last week. Would it jump to 3?
No, well, 3 more without it. So after this, it's 3 more without it. That's how I'm doing it now. I'm trying to get the numbers smaller for you. That's what I'm trying to do. So 4 weeks from now is when, yes, you'll have that football Friday. But 3 more Fridays without it. See what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to make it seem like it's a lot closer than it actually is. They're playing golf in a bunch of places right now. Actually, only one. They've just finished up in the United Kingdom for Live. But PGA at the 3M Open. Matthew Naismith shooting a 7 under this morning, now is in the lead at 10 under. Your boy Andrew Putnam, 9 under. Doug Gim, the Gim Reaper. Johnny Vegas, roll the dice
Gim?
at 8 under as well. Wow. Mac Hughes involved. The guy Bridgman, who was the leader yesterday, hasn't even teed off yet. So he's 2 back, and he's about to go to the tee box there. So star-studded leaderboard at TP.
Your boy Cooch.
Cooch is around there too. Look at Cooch at 7 under, hanging around for the weekend. We shall see. Meanwhile, at Live, they're done. Just finished up.
Your boy Grio.
United Kingdom is where they're playing, just south of Manchester at the JCB. John Rahm taking his great play from Saturday and Sunday at the Open Championship and spilling it over here to Live this week. And 8 under today in the UK to give himself the lead. Several follow him. Abraham Answer, Andy Ogletree, Cam Smith, and Tyrrell Hatton are 3 back of him. So John Rahm getting involved after playing much better golf last weekend at the Open Championship, Scotty. So we have all of that cooking for us this afternoon in terms of the golf. And we have a lot of things to do for tonight and for the weekend. We have lots of baseball to get to. The Mets stayed hot last night. How about that 10th inning for that guy Laureano on the Braves, Scotty? He gets picked off between third and home in the rundown on the, I don't know what the Braves were doing there on that squeeze play. And then he misses the fly ball in right field that allows the Mets to win. What a disastrous inning for Laureano, who's really only playing because the Braves have so many injuries.
Yeah, look, once again, we bet on the Mets and cash a ticket. It's every night. I mean, that's both games in the Subway. And then against Sale, they get 2 earned runs off of them, and McNeil has the winning hit in the 10th. He stays hotter than a pancake on a skillet, and so do they. They just keep winning, and they're doing damage, and they're fun to bet on right now.
They are fun to bet on right now, indeed. And we have a lot of trade deadline. Of course, that's Tuesday in baseball, and deals are starting to happen. Arozarena going to Seattle last night. The Phillies and the Orioles made an interesting deal today. Reliever for outfielder help with Austin Hayes and Anthony Dominguez. So we'll get into all that. This actually just came across my desk, Scotty, right at this moment. Of course, we've been doing a lot of holdout talk and contract talk with NFL training camps opening up. And one of those guys actually has been signed. But this was a guy that showed up to camp and practiced anyway. He wasn't worried about his contract, and that is Tua Tagovailoa, who now has 4 years, $212 million from the Dolphins, Scotty. 4-year extension for Tua, gets over $200 million, locking him in for the Fish.
I mean, that's a great deal for him. I mean, are you kidding? 200+ million, 50+ million per year. And that's done now, and they don't have anything else to worry about.
They shouldn't have anything else to worry about, that's for sure. We have several other football stories that we'll get to. I have Jerry Jones for you today. Dak Prescott, for the first time, Dak kind of sounds like, Scotty, he knows he might not be a Cowboy for his whole life. So we will listen to that today as all those wheels started to turn. They had their big, I love when they do that hour-plus press conference in Oxnard to start the year, and Jerry and Steven and Mike McCarthy just sits there nodding his head the whole time, and nobody asks him any questions. We have some of the highlights from that. Jerry, no idea what he's saying, but Steven had some things to say. So we'll do all of that today as well.
Jerry gets worse by the season as he continues to get older. Isn't Lance the backup to Prescott down there?
Yeah, he is. Well, they have, I believe, a couple of backups.
Well, he's like Love. Like Love sat behind Rodgers forever, and Trey Lance was where was he before this? San Fran. He was going to be the guy behind Garoppolo. He was the future, and then Purdy got the ball, and that was the end of it. Then he went to Dallas, and he's waiting in the wings. But they're going to give him his money. He's not going anywhere. Dak Prescott is not leaving the Cowboys. That deal's getting done.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys to get paid. Of course, CeeDee Lamb wants to get paid. Micah Parsons wants to get paid. Dak wants to get paid. it's a tough problem to have down there in Big D right now. So.
Parsons' deal is after the 25 season, so he needs to have a sandwich.
Well, he needs to have a sandwich, but I guess he's still banging on their door because they brought him up yesterday as another guy who wants to get paid now. So you're right. He probably does need to have a sandwich, but it doesn't sound like he's hungry right now. It sounds like he's hungry for bags of money and not the sandwich. So we'll see what happens with the Cowboys. What a shame that is. And the Olympics start in full force today. The opening ceremonies as they are walking through the streets of Paris now. Of course, it'll be shown tonight here in the States on tape delay, Scotty, but they are all out walking the streets, getting ready, and then tomorrow and this weekend, the games will really get going. I've got a list for you today of all the events that you can bet on. We, of course, have all the basketball odds with that starting this weekend. Get ready, the Olympics in Paris.
How about the incidents of arson and terrorism on the rail systems in France? All the speed trains that go to Paris, they set the tracks and power lines on fire and caused a massive disruption that I hear is going to affect at least somewhere between 800 and 1 million people that are, going to the Olympics. And I don't know how they got there today for the opening ceremonies when all the trains were shut down. Already having chaos in Paris.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Next up is Tampa, who was very impressive last year with Baker Mayfield, Evans. They hooked up a ton, and they've already shown what they can do, but they're picking this team, the Falcons, over them. Explain that to me.
Baker Mayfield's back. Mike Evans is back. Where a couple years ago, you really wondered if he finished his career as a Buck, but the Bucs wanted him to do that, and he's going to do that. He signed a 2-year deal for about $21 million a year.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They scored well. They defended like crap. Last game, they struggled to score. They defended great. We still have not seen the best out of USA basketball. So they've shown they've won different ways. They still should win absolutely the gold medal, but they're playing with fire a little bit.
BetMGM is swinging for the fences. The best place to bet the long ball all season long. Out-of-the-park odds on home runs. Exclusive signature bets. And a weekly shot at your share of $50K in bonus bets. Enter the $50K Grand Slam jackpot. It's on.
All right, catch Sports Rage every weeknight at 10 East on all of our affiliates, all of our TV streaming channels. TV stations, you name it, new TVs, Samsung, Vizio, and LG TVs have us. Just search SportsGrid. Also on the app, the SportsGrid app, just click live and click watch. You're styling and follow your favorite hosts on the app. Get it on iOS or Android for free. And it's fantastic. You can even listen to the network on there. It's incredible. You can catch Morency on all of our radio affiliates, including Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio in San Diego near Tijuana. Do you wanna? Of course, from Baja to the Canadian Rockies, all over the West Coast, the Big Stick out of Rosarito at night. It's Mightier 1090. Sports Byline USA and all their affiliates out of San Francisco, DPEC holding it down. Satellite radio, we're all over the Southern Hemisphere on Sirius XM channel 159. So Gojira, the metal band, playing at the opening ceremony of the Olympics along the Seine, and they were jamming out. You sent me the video. Never thought I'd see a metal band opening the Olympics.
You know what? I always complain about this. And if you look at sporting events, guys, what music do they play all the time? Hard rock, metal in arenas. It's sort of synonymous with sports, yet what's the closest we've ever gotten to a heavy band that did the Super Bowl, Scott? Aerosmith?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? So they got Aerosmith. Oh, yeah, I like Aerosmith. Aerosmith is a rock band, but they also got Aerosmith in their pop days, so to speak, right? With, with all the hits. But you got to love Europe, bro, right? They said, we're going to have a games for everybody, and they've had it all, man. First things first, Lady Gaga, what a talent she is. She did a performance in French, like a show tunes song in French on wet stairs. Everything went off perfectly. Absolutely nailed it. And Taylor Swift, she's the king, the queen of pop, and she's, she makes a ton of money, obviously, but she sort of has one gear, Scott. All of her songs are kind of the same. They're catchy. She's got a country pop feel, you know what I mean? But they're all the same thing. Lady Gaga, man, this girl's unbelievable. Like, she's belting out French show tunes. Like, she performs with Metallica. She does her own thing. Serious stuff. But, we were hyped up. I don't usually watch Olympic ceremonies. It's fluff. I don't care. Like, I don't, your floats and all this, and here comes the region and the, and this and the delegates. It's like, whatever. This isn't that, bro. Like, they're freaking people out. Like, they had headless Marie Antoinettes in an opera building with the metal band comes out, dun, 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 dun. And it wasn't just for 30 seconds. It was, they played the whole song, 3.5 minutes, and then it merged opera. An opera singer came in, rolling in, literally got pushed in on this stage. She joined the metal band, and then it took over into an opera song after. This is next level production, Scott. That's what I enjoy watching. I was a sports fan. I'm getting ready for the games, but just from a production standpoint, bro, this is next level stuff. And just for the record, the guy that's producing it's a British guy. The French did the show, but the actual television production is a British guy, Scott. Not a bad resume. He's done 3 Olympic ceremonies before, and he did Queen Elizabeth's death on national television. That's his resume. That's pretty good. Like, when they call you to produce the Queen's death on TV, you know you're the guy.
Yeah, that was huge. I've never seen that I can remember, an opening ceremony on boats and on a river.
First time ever. It's not in a stadium, literally. It really is. And it just keeps going. Like, at times it'll get, it becomes like an opening ceremony and, the boat will go by. But basically every 5-10 minutes, they surprise you with something like, whoa, hey. And like, all right, here we go. We got a new act coming on here right now. So they sort of keep it moving. Very well done, Scott. The bar has been set so high. But like I said, I think this opening ceremony is costing them like $6 billion. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like, they spent a lot of money on this.
How about the water that they're spraying, colored water? Like, that's pretty freaky, too. They're spraying these giant water spouts of colored water. It's crazy.
Bro, they had a massive French flag in the air before out of smoke, colored smoke, and it's next level. You know what this is? It's like the opening ceremonies with Cirque du Soleil and metal show. Like, it's hard to describe. It's like a festival of events. They really have done a great job. I don't want to get too deep into it, but just like dipping into their French culture and the backdrops that they have. I mean, dude, they had a pop singer with the French military marching band, and you got this chick shaking her hips and grinding and like twerking and stuff, and like the official military band's hitting their drums and they're dancing. It's like, wow, this is like really over the top, but great stuff. Can't wait for the actual listen. Some of the events started, but we're locked and loaded, Scott. I'm up to, I've got about $3,500 in bets right now on the Olympics. So like, I just, you know what I mean? 100 here, 200 here, 300 here. I put a $500 bet in last night. Parlay, single bets, gold medals, judo. I'm just, you know, it's every 4 years. I put a lot of research into this. So I'm sort of keeping track. I'm like, all right, I'm up to about 3,300, 3,500 right now. And we'll keep track. How much do I get back in return? But I'm ready to win my old gold medal in betting, Scott, in the Olympics. Let's rock.
He's back there. He's gone off the deep end. He's bet 3,500 on the Olympics. He's rocking it D-Gen style. I noticed that they have all kinds too. Like they got the rappers, they got the rockers, they got Gaga. I mean, they got all walks.
Oh,
and
no, that was their
Dogg.
thing.
He's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's completely big. You can tell he's just having the best time. Partying by himself, Billy Idol style, dancing with himself. He's just partying.
It really is a fun event going on. I can imagine the party after this. But I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Like you said, the event started in the morning, and we got some good ones.
All right, we got another shot with Morency coming up.
I would imagine if you think the salaries are big now, what kind of salaries are we looking at on an 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal?
This deal puts so much more money in the owners and the players' hands. Folks, this is about national media rights. So you're going to have more national appearances than ever.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Are there any grave issues that would keep Team USA from winning a gold medal?
Should they be minus 430 against the field or whatever the price is right now? Maybe. But am I looking at, hey, Europe as a continent to win the Olympics at plus 500 as an interesting bet? Yeah, because one, they have 5 teams in the Olympics out of the 12.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees are desperate. I mean, they could fire hitting coaches and everything else, but it's not working. So I don't know if Cashman really would do that. They seem to be so, tight-knit, but something's got to happen.
A big award or a big prize in the trade deadline sweepstakes would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Vladdy, put him in the middle of the lineup.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
They scored well. They defended like crap. Last game, they struggled to score. They defended great. We still have not seen the best out of USA basketball. So they showed they've won different ways. They still should win absolutely the gold medal. But they're playing with fire a little bit with their play, especially when you get to the medal round and it only takes is one game to lose.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So it all is underway in Paris. You can watch it live now, or you can watch it in tape delay tonight if you missed any of it. But a lot of the events are happening over the weekend. There's tons of basketball. There's tons of everything. And Morency's got massive action going. But yesterday, I wanted to talk to you, and I saved it for today, about Jim Harbaugh. I want to know what you think the fallout will be like for your Mason Blue without him, with Sharon Moore, and I want to know how you think he's going to do in his first year with the Chargers.
I don't know what the NCAA is going to do now that Harbaugh is gone. Clearly, there's still going to be some fallout. You know, he did miss half the season last year, but ironically enough, that was the Big Ten, and that was Michigan, self-imposed. So the NCAA hasn't really stepped up yet. But to be honest, Scott, the NCAA is a toothless entity right now. The Big Ten and the SEC is going to do what they want. So I think there'll be some slap on the wrist type of, token sort of sanctions on the Michigan Wolverines. But I'm not expecting anything serious on the Michigan Wolverine program. I think everybody just sort of wants to move forward with it. And I think it was Harbaugh that they wanted more than anything. As far as Harbaugh and the National Football League is concerned, I'm buying in, Scott, right? I'm buying in, but he's got a 5-year contract. So there's a 5-year plan to build this thing up. But they already have talent to begin with to compete for a playoff spot. I like their win total over 8.5. It's like minus 150 or so, minus 155 or so in that range. But starting to pop up, Scott, some 9.5s right now with the Bolts. We can't, with all due respect to Brandon Staley, he really was a problem on the sidelines. He was holding them back. Some coaches hold teams back. He was holding them back. I would expect Justin Herbert right now. He won't put it, it's not going to be the same type of stats. It's going to change the culture of the team, Scott. But in the big picture, I'm expecting the Chargers to succeed. And in fact, I think they're going to be a playoff team this year. I've got the Chargers winning 10 games, Scott. I think there's going to be a quick turnaround with this team. They're not a 5-win team. We know this, right? Last year was a train wreck. People were hurt. The wheels fell off. It was what it was. There's already a different level of professionalism, accountability. And I'll tell you what, Ladd McConkey out of the Georgia Bulldogs, this guy's a stud, bro. He's not a flashy guy. He's just a reliable guy. And he's already, all you need to know is they made him the highest paid 34th pick ever in the National Football League draft. They went Bronny James on his ass, Scott. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. I know you weren't drafted, but whatever. What do you want? Yeah, all right, we're going to give you everything at the max that we can give you. We're going to give you a nice bonus. Like, they're locked in. This guy's going to catch like 85, 100 balls, if not more, this year. They're going to be much more physical. And the division sucks, Scott, right? When you look at NFL win totals, look at the division that they play in. All right? The Denver Broncos are going to be one of the worst teams in the National Football League, in my opinion. We talk about it. The Panthers, the Panthers, the Patriots. The Broncos probably win 4 or 5 games this year. The Chargers are better than they are. I think the Chargers are better than the Raiders are, Scott. So, all right, and you know this. Over the years, the Chargers have always played the Chiefs tough. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what Harbaugh comes up with.
How do you think Michigan ends up doing under Moore?
I love Michigan this year, Scott. They're flying under the radar. People are overestimating the loss of Harbaugh. Yeah, Harbaugh didn't coach against Penn State last year. Harbaugh wasn't the one on the sideline against Ohio State last year. I can go on and on. Sharon Moore also called the plays last year, guys. So they're not, they've got sort of the brain trust of the offense that is back. Moore is a great recruiter, Scott, and don't be fooled by, Michigan had 15 guys in the NFL and all this. All right, their running back, Donovan Edwards, is projected to be the second running back taken in this year's NFL draft. Will Johnson is projected to be the top cornerback or second cornerback taken in this year's NFL draft. Mason Graham, their nose tackle, defensive tackle, is projected to be the first or second defensive tackle taken in the NFL draft. At every position, they're stacked. There's questions at the quarterback. Hard to replace a stud like J.J. McCarthy and a winner like him, Scott. But look for the Michigan Wolverines, even with their tough schedule, to go at least 10-2 this year. That's what I got them at.
Wow, so you really believe in Moore?
Yes, 100%. And, dude, they've done a better job recruiting now. And did anyone transfer after Harbaugh left? Nobody. The 2 kids left because they weren't going to play, and Moore told them, you're not going to play, so you should transfer.
Well, I can't wait to see how they do. Everyone thinks Ohio State and Oregon are going to be so great. We'll see what exactly. The Wolverines do. Have a good show tonight, Morenzi. Have a good weekend.
I would imagine if you think the salaries are big now, what kind of salaries are we looking at on an 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal?
This deal puts so much more money in the owners and the players' hands. Folks, this is about national media rights. So you're going to have more national appearances than ever.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Are there any grave issues that would keep Team USA from winning a gold medal?
Should they be minus 430 against the field or whatever the price is right now? Maybe. But am I looking at, hey, Europe as a continent to win the Olympics at plus 500 as an interesting bet? Yeah, because one, they have 5 teams in the Olympics out of the 12.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees are desperate. I mean, they could fire hitting coaches and everything else, but it's not working. So I don't know if Cashman really would do that. They seem to be so, tight-knit, but something's got to happen.
A big award or a big prize in the trade deadline sweepstakes would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Vladdy, put him in the middle of the lineup.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
They scored well. They defended like crap. Last game, they struggled to score. They defended great. We still have not seen the best out of USA basketball. So they showed they've won different ways. They still should win absolutely the gold medal. But they're playing with fire a little bit with their play, especially when you get to the medal round and it only takes is one game to lose.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I love seeing some of the boats. St. Lucia's boat, they got 4 athletes. The Grenadines, they got 5 athletes on the whole boat. The Caribbean islands have these tiny little enclaves of their athletes. It's a trip watching them go through. And by the way, it's pouring there. It is just pouring in Paris. They're doing this whole thing. It looks like it's fine, but when they show close-ups, it's just gushing. They did that fashion show. I mean, the entire catwalk was just covered. It looked like a lake, and it was just pouring, and all of their hairdos and everything's ruined.
Whatever. They're at the Olympics. It is what it is, and I'm with you. I think another great part of the Olympics is seeing those smaller countries. Yeah, they might only have a couple people. It's nowhere near the ensemble that the United States or the UK or Italy or anyone else rolls out. But that's pride. You're making the Olympics out of some of those small countries. That's something else. And to do that, that's absolutely awesome. Ireland, too. I always root for Ireland and everything. They usually have one of the smaller contingents. Not as small as some of these other countries, but the Irish Bear, the flag bearer for Ireland tonight at the
I hope he does better than he did at the Open on Saturday.
I hope no one puts a camera in front of him as he's walking. We wouldn't want anybody to get in his way while he's walking so he doesn't yell at them.
Yeah, lighten up, Francis.
Indeed. No doubt about that. All right, let's start with the baseball. Of course, everybody's in action tonight on a Friday night in MLB, but we have a couple things from last night. There was only a few games. First, we mentioned it briefly at the top. Mets beat the Braves 3-2 in 10 innings at Citi Field. First, before I play the highlights, Scotty, Lindor homered again, 5th time since the All-Star break, and you had him yesterday, so nice job by you getting involved there. But tied at 2 in the 10th. Here it is, Jeff McNeil on SNY.
Jeff is 0 for 1 in his career against Pierce Johnson. And he drives one to right field over toward the line. Long run for Laureano, and he runs it! And the Mets win the ball game! Laureano ran too far. Coming home to score is Iglesias, and the Mets win it in 10, 3-2.
Jeez, Laureano, what a rough night for him. But That's his problem. That was a great win for the Mets, like I said, and a great bet. They just keep cashing tickets.
They just keep cashing tickets. They are now in the second wild card spot and are only a half game back of the Braves for the top wild card spot in the National League. I don't think it's probably too early to start getting involved in this, but yeah, they're still 10 games back of the Phillies. Phillies running away and hiding, Scotty, in the NL East, as they have been pretty much all year. Elsewhere last night, how about we ring the bell again? Double dip ring the bell in the Angel game late night in Anaheim. Of course, the Butler did do it for you, and Brent Rooker got it for me on NBC Sports California.
Gold for a long time.
Brent Rooker sends one far and deep. See ya later. Solo shot for Brent Rooker, and it's a 2-0 ball game. 24 long balls now for Rook.
Yeah, I mean, 24 homers, and he's a guy, that allegedly is on the table here at the deadline Tuesday. He could move. Like, I don't understand this franchise, how they don't keep anybody. They just, if you're good, they just get rid of you, and they would rather have hack players with no money that they don't have to pay anybody, and they run it on a penny. Is unbelievable to me. And Butler's doing it, Rooker's doing it, Miller's doing it. Miller got hurt, of course, but I don't think they can trade him now with his broken finger.
No, but they found a bunch of guys that can mash in that lineup. A few guys, Langoliers, there's Galoff, there's a few guys in there.
Would you trade for Miller, even with the broken finger, just let him heal? I think teams might.
Because it's his non-throwing hand, I probably would. It's his glove hand. He just can't put a glove on it because he's got a little bit of a cast there. I'm sure that's not going to be as long as if it was his throwing hand, it would be a much bigger deal. I think he still gets traded. I think but again, he's a rookie. Like, what is the point of bringing these guys up? It's his first year in the league, and you're already moving him. You think that Rooker and the Butler would be guys that you would want to build in the future?
Have a core.
Sacramento and then Vegas, all these travels that they're going to have the next few years. But
so let me get this straight: they're playing at the Ashtray this year, and then next year they're playing at Sacramento, and the year after that they're playing in Sacramento, and then in the third year they're playing in Vegas. 3 years there.
25, 26, and 27. Apparently, Vegas won't be ready until 28. That's the word.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever. When the way they build in Las Vegas is the way they build in New York City. They build things so fast there. 24-hour crews. I remember when they built that Circa, they put that up overnight, and they build these gigantic resort casinos, hotels in the sky. They're just like Manhattan, the way they build these skyscrapers. I don't understand why it takes so long to build a baseball stadium. I really don't.
It took less than 3 years to build Allegiant, the football stadium, of course. I just looked it up. It took less than 3 years to build, and that was with a construction delay because of COVID. And they still built it in less than 3 years, Allegiant Stadium. So I think it also factors in, Scotty, that there's a lot of people who don't want it. I think that that's another thing that's kind of dragging it along.
But it's happening. I was there when at the Tank Davis fight, they're tearing down the Trop. It's like
they ripped that whole corner down, right?
Yeah,
they ripped that whole corner down over there. Yeah. It's going to be there whether you like it or not. The Dodgers beat the Giants 6-4, tied at 4 in the 8th. The Dodgers get a couple of home runs to take the lead, and the first one was by Nick Ahmed, who just joined the Dodgers a couple days prior. Sportsnet LA.
Drives this ball to left center field. Ramos on the run. It's got a chance, and it's gone! Nick Ahmed, second game with the Dodgers, has broken the tie against the team that just dumped him.
Yeah, go figure, right? And who did we have? And didn't Ohtani hit another one? He hit his 31st.
Right after that to extend it to 6-4. So it was back-to-back at a belly-to-belly. Ahmed, who was with the Giants, they let him go. Dodgers pick him up. Homers against him, game-winning homer, and then Ohtani with a little cherry on top at the end for L.A. Padres beat the Nats 3-0. Of course, we had this yesterday while we were on, Scotty, but let's quickly hear the final out of the Dylan Cease no-hitter on MLB Net.
Abrams to right field. Johnson coming in. He makes the catch. No hits for the Nats. Dylan Cease throws a no-hitter. The second no-hitter in Padres history. There'll be a sea of San Diegans celebrating back home today.
Yeah, it's always cool to see anyone do it, right? Like, I've never gotten bored watching guys throw perfect games or no-hitters. And you get a couple every year, and there you go. Cease was magnificent yesterday, and not only that, I had a ticket on the Padres on the run line, so that cashed.
That's always good, too. That's actually more important than him getting the no-hitter, is that he was able to do that for you as well. We'll come back. I want to get to tonight's games and also tell you there's already been a few trades today or in the last 24 hours as we get closer to Tuesday, which is the MLB trade deadline. A lot of things happening, a lot of moving pieces. Of course, Rosarena being the big one. We'll give you all of that. Ferrall Arena going to Seattle, who's only a half game ahead of Tampa, but Tampa trades him to him. They're only half game behind Seattle in the standings. Pretty good.
Imagine if you think the salaries are big now, what kind of salaries are we looking at on an 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal?
This deal puts so much more money in the owners and the players' hands. Folks, this is about national media rights. So you're going to have more national appearances than ever.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Are there any grave issues that would keep Team USA from winning a gold medal?
Should they be minus 430 against the field or whatever the price is right now? Maybe. But am I looking at, hey, Europe as a continent to win the Olympics at plus 500 as an interesting bet? Yeah, because one, they have 5 teams in the Olympics out of the 12.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees are desperate. I mean, they can fire hitting coaches and everything else, but it's not working. So I don't know if Cashman really would do that. They seem to be so, tight-knit, but something's got to happen.
A big award or a big prize in the trade deadline sweepstakes would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Vladdy, put him in the middle of the lineup.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
They scored well. They defended like crap. Last game, they struggled to score. They defended great. We still have not seen the best out of USA basketball. So they showed they've won different ways. They still should win absolutely the gold medal. But they're playing with fire a little bit with their play, especially when you get to the medal round and it only takes is one game to lose.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So this BetMGM first bet 1,500 is so gigantic. It's bigger than the Olympics, clearly. How do you get involved? 4 easy steps. 1, download the BetMGM app on iOS or Android or go to BetMGM.com. 2, sign up, open an account, put $10 in. Boom. 3, place your first wager. You can bet up to $1,500 and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. You heard me. Boom. 4. If the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. You are going to love this. It's like free money. You could lose your bet and get all of your money back, up to $1,500 back in bonus bets with BetMGM. We keep talking about baseball trades, Carver High. I was talking to the sportsbook consigliere today. He was in Tahoe, and he told me that the Pirates want Jazz Chisholm. And I'm like, who doesn't? What that guy would do to the top of their order and on the base pass and in the outfield, he would be amazing. You're hearing they're in on other players as well.
Yeah, I saw a report today that Yandy Diaz from the Rays, of course, clearly the Rays are open for business with what they're doing with the Rosarena going to Seattle. Diaz had missed the last couple of days. He's back in the lineup tonight, hitting leadoff for Tampa. Now that's a nice, Scotty, that would be a nice under-the-radar bat that the Pirates can put right at the top of the order. I don't think it cost them a lot. Diaz can play. He can hit. That's the type of move that I could see the Pirates making. It would be helpful, too. That's a consistent bat that they can get in there in that lineup.
Anything to get a bat, anything to get some juice, some speed on the base pass, some better defense in the outfield or otherwise. Anything to improve them and make them better, I'm all interested in. Usually, every year for the longest time, they do absolutely nothing. They're always sellers. They're not buyers. So now that they're in it, they need to do something. And let's see what they do by Tuesday. And I'll tell you what else. I think this weekend is gigantic for them out in the desert. They cannot go out there and get swept. They have to go out there and compete and try to win that series. If they steal 2 out of 3 from Arizona, it'd be a miracle. And at worst, they got to get a game.
Look, it's big. These teams are basically dead even. Arizona's got one more win than them. They're even in the loss column. They both have 50 losses. These are the teams that the Pirates are in competition with for those 3 spots. So you're right. You got to go take 2 out of 3 this weekend out in the desert against this Diamondback team, who's also been playing pretty good, as we know. Orioles, you don't see 2 first-place teams make a trade often, Scotty, but that happened today too. Orioles trade outfielder Austin Hayes. He was an all-star last year, but he's been kind of pushed out of the mix with all this great young talent that the Orioles have. He goes to the Phillies for Sir Anthony Dominguez, who once upon a time was the Phillies closer. So the Orioles, as we know, need some bullpen help. They get Dominguez. Phillies need some outfield bat help. They get Austin Hayes. Interesting trade there for both first-place teams.
Yeah, and you could see their need in their back end yesterday when they blew that lead in the 9th inning down in Miami. They got lucky and won the game 7-6, but they were up 6-0 in that game, and their bullpen imploded.
The Marlins traded pitcher A.J. Puck, a reliever. He started a little bit, too, to Arizona for 2 prospects. Dodgers do end up sending James Paxton to the Red Sox. So the Dodgers got a bunch of their pitchers back, and I guess didn't need Paxton anymore. So off to Boston he goes. Of course, he has been there before, so he's back in the AL East. Garrett, don't call me Davey. We're not going to call him by the right last name, Crockett. Wants an extension if somebody trades for him. He won't pitch in the bullpen. I know this story has changed a lot in the last 2 days, Scotty, but I also saw this afternoon that because of this little stipulation that's been thrown around, that teams have cooled on trading for him from Chicago. Now, that could be a smokescreen. Teams don't want to trade for him and then have to give him an extension. So we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good for them, and I don't understand all his demands. I can see why people are turned off by it, but I don't know if he's worth it.
He's not Nolan Ryan. He's having a really good year on an awful team, but it's also the first time he's ever had a really good year. So wouldn't you be happy to go to a contender and be in the mix and make that's where you can make even more money, isn't it? Pitching well for a contender in September and October? I guess not. He's got other ideas.
One of the other things that I think is interesting is, he's having this great season, yet they never win. They never win. Like, so he pitches well and he does well, but he gets no results because the team around him is so god awful. So, you know, don't be fooled by his numbers and stats and everything else, because they never win when he pitches. I told you, I bet against him every night and I make money. Every night I bet against him and make money.
Never wins. It's amazing. The Yankees, Red Sox, and Astros are all interested in Jameson Shotta-Tyone, as the Cubs are most likely going to deal him by Tuesday. The Yankees and the Dodgers are both interested in Rich Hill, who's got to be, 55, 60? How old's Rich Hill now, Scotty? Isn't he with the Pirates, or he was with the Pirates? Did the Pirates let him go? What'd they do with him?
He was with the Pirates, and honest to God, like, I can live with Jameson Shotta-Tyone for sure. He's $18 million the next 2 years each year, and I think that's relatively manageable. And I don't want some old geezer. If you wanted to do that, they should have gone after Paxton.
Yeah, that's what they should have did, no doubt. Yeah, so this has been his plan all along, is to sign with somebody mid-season to try to pitch at the second half of the year. So we shall see what happens with him. Little too old for me. I don't need it. All right, we'll come back. Actually, after you talk to Dan, Scotty, top of the hour, I'll give you the whole slate for tonight. Everybody's in action in Major League Baseball, including the Yankees going back to Boston this weekend up at Fenway. Can they actually win a couple games from the Red Sox, Scotty, this weekend up there? I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I would imagine if you think the salaries are big now, what kind of salaries are we looking at on an 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal?
This deal puts so much more money in the owners and the players' hands. Folks, this is about national media rights. So you're going to have more national appearances than ever.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Are there any grave issues that would keep Team USA from winning a gold medal?
Should they be minus 430 against the field or whatever the price is right now? Maybe. But am I looking at, hey, Europe as a continent to win the Olympics at plus 500 as an interesting bet? Yeah, because one, they have 5 teams in the Olympics out of the 12.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees are desperate. I mean, they could fire hitting coaches and everything else, but it's not working. So I don't know if Cashman really would do that. They seem to be so, tight-knit, but something's got to happen.
A big award or a big prize in the trade deadline sweepstakes would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right? Vladdy, put him in the middle of the lineup.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
They scored well. They defended like crap. Last game, they struggled to score. They defended great. We still have not seen the best out of USA basketball. So they showed they've won different ways. They still should win absolutely the gold medal. But they're playing with fire a little bit with their play, especially when you get to the medal round and it only takes is one game to lose.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Always good to have Dan on from the Daily Racing Forum. You can follow him on X at DRF_Dan Illman, ILLMAN. And good to see you, Dan. I want to start with this, and then we'll get into the Jim Dandy at Toga. I want to ask your opinion of Dornock in the Haskell at Monmouth. Wins the Belmont and then wins the Million Haskell. That's a nice, hell of a couple of runs.
It moves him to the top of the 3-year-old division, that's for sure, even ahead of Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan, who probably is going to be out for the year right now. They're going to give him a break after a tough campaign and head for a 4-year-old season next year. But Dornock's Haskell was sort of a carbon copy of his Belmont, wasn't it? He went to the lead. He had Mindframe, the sort of hyped horse, loom outside of him. It looked like Mindframe was going to go right by. But Dornock is a courageous horse. He really likes to fight. He's very talented. He wants to win, and that's something you have to respect in any athlete, human or equine. He's going to be a handful if he shows up in the Travers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, obviously. Now let's talk about the Jim Dandy Stakes at Saratoga. All of these horses have questions to answer. Let's start with Fierceness.
Well, Fierceness was last year's 2-year-old champion. He was absolutely brilliant when winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and a lot of folks thought going into this season that not only was he a Kentucky Derby winner, this is a horse that could have competed for the Triple Crown. Well, things didn't go right. His seasonal debut was a disaster. He got beat. He then won the Florida Derby, and while visually impressive, he beat a terrible field. And then in the Kentucky Derby, he got cooked up in a pace battle with 3 or 4 other horses that left him gasping for air in the stretch. When Fierceness shows up, he's very, very good. Which Fierceness are we going to get on Saturday? I'm not sure, because there are other horses in this race that want to go for the early lead. And if you're a value bettor, a horse like Fierceness is going to take money based on reputation. With all the question marks surrounding him, I'm not sure I want the hassle of a short price.
What about Seize the Gray? The horse won the Preakness, but got rocked in the Belmont.
Yeah, he still has to prove that the Preakness isn't a sort of one-off fluke. I realize he won the race before the Preakness, the Pat Day Mile, but that was against lesser competition. And in the Preakness, he couldn't have had it any easier. He went to the lead. Nobody went with him. He was able to pace himself, and he sprinted on home. And that wasn't the case in the Belmont when he was pressured by a good horse in Dornock. I wonder how the legendary trainer Wayne Lucas is going to play this. I don't think Seize the Gray is as fast as Fierceness and can go after that horse early. Can he sit off horses and win? That's a big question. Of the sort of big 3 in the Jim Dandy, he's the best price. I'm just not sure how good he is.
And then Sierra Leone would be that third heavy in this Jim Dandy, second in the Derby, third in the Belmont. What do we expect from Sierra Leone Saturday?
Well, we expect him to get a good setup, and if he doesn't win the Jim Dandy, then I think a lot of folks are going to question that maybe he's not as good as he's been hyped up to be. He won the Bluegrass Stakes, his final prep race for the Kentucky Derby. He looked so good doing it that he looked like he was coming into the Kentucky Derby at just the right time. And then he got beat by a dirty lip in the Kentucky Derby, a race where you could argue he might have cost himself a little bit. He has problems running in a straight line. That's an issue in horse racing. Sometimes he starts drifting in at just the most inopportune times. In the Belmont Stakes, similar situation. He just ran in spots. He looked like he was going to run last 3 furlongs from home. Then he comes into the stretch. He decides he's going to start running again, and then he starts running left again. Chad Brown has a good horse with Sierra Leone. He has all the talent in the world. He just doesn't know what he's doing yet. He's like the pitcher that throws 100 miles per hour, but his mechanics are so bad that he has no idea where the ball is going. I think one of these days Sierra Leone is going to figure it out. I think it might be on Saturday.
A lot of people bet a lot of money on that horse this season.
Certainly, and those folks are still trying to recapture that money, and they may not get it if they want to bet him to win on Saturday, because he'll either be the favorite or the second choice along with Fierceness. So how to make money in a race like the Jim Dandy? Maybe you try to split the favorites with one of the under-the-radar contenders in here, and a horse like Gould's Gold is a little bit interesting, going out for Kenny McPeak, who trained Mystic Dan. This is a horse I think that's slowly getting good. He's going to get the right race shape. He can creep into your exacta maybe behind Sierra Leone and maybe make this race worth betting.
There he is, Dan Illman, getting ready for the Jim Dandy, a great race on Saturday at Saratoga, a prep for the Travers. Of course, the best 3-year-olds in the Travers later this summer. Dan, enjoy the races tomorrow at Saratoga. Thanks for coming on Coast to Coast today. Everybody check out the Daily Racing Form.